Hello, this is Ryan Woodward recording a little demo and walkthrough of Project Vigilant. And what Project Vigilant is a Linux server monitoring system. I have a server actually here at home that this project is currently monitoring. And what the project leverages is actually an AWS EC2 instance, an RDS instance, and the Elastic Container Registry. So essentially what I did is I built an application on my local machine here that I'm recording from, and I Dockerized it and sent that to the Elastic Container Registry in AWS. And then in an EC2 instance, I connected that to the ECR, the Elastic Container Registry, and pulled that Docker image. And then I am able to run Project Vigilant on an EC2 instance, and it is monitoring my server at home for me. And it stores all the data in a relational data service on AWS. And all that data is actually coming to a Grafana dashboard, which is what you see on the screen. And I can monitor some of the metrics of my server. The other half, as this was a part of an assignment for my software engineering program at Grand Canyon University, one of the requirements was to have a machine learning component. And that component for Project Vigilant is actually a linear regression to provide predictive analysis. So some of these predicted values, they look a little off, but this is the model that I have, and it is predicting certain metrics of the server itself. So actually, what we see here is the server. This is the data coming from the EC2 instance and the relational data service instance. It's a PostgreSQL instance up in AWS. And this dashboard is actually the local instance on my machine. It's not running currently anymore because I'm running the EC2 and I don't feel like the need to keep up with both. But this is what the data was looking like when I was monitoring the server from my machine that I'm recording from now. It's the same data, although it's different time periods, so it looks a little different. But I can show that I have an Elastic Container Registry here, which is where my Docker image is stored. That's connected and has been pulled to my Project Vigilant EC2 instance. And the data that is collected from that EC2 instance is stored here in this Vigilant AWS RDS instance. Okay, and let me just show what that kind of looks like. So in the terminal, what I have here on the right is to show the Postgres databases I have. So for this one, I am currently, I was logged in. It looks like my password failed for that, but I can log into that. And this is the RDS instance. This version of Postgres is actually stored up in Amazon Web Services Relational Data Service, and that's where this database is. And this one down here is local to my machine. As you can see, I just type in pSQL and I log into it here on my own. And that's these two different databases where data is being stored locally for that one dashboard, the older dashboard, which is prototype 1, and this top one for the Amazon Cloud services. So here on the left, we'll see that I'm currently logged into an EC2 instance. And if I were to scroll up, we can see that I've SSH'd into this. I have this changing every time I log in and out, so if anyone were to try to use this, it would not allow them in. But I've logged into, from my virtual machine here, I've logged into my EC2 instance, which is an Ubuntu instance. And now what I can do is actually run the Docker image, and then I can say Docker PS, and it will show me that my Project Vigilant image is running. Started 3 seconds ago, and it's running the Python main.py. That's the script that starts everything. And we can see down here, this is on my local instance, as you can see, Parallels virtual platform here. I'm actually in the directory where Project Vigilant is, and I can run the application with Python command. And this is something that it looks like here. It's not actively running at the moment. Actually, let me, I'll stop that in a moment. But we can see that we have begin Project Vigilant data handling cycle. It collects data. It prepares it mostly for storage into Redis so that it's actually in a nice hash table format. Then it inserts it into Postgres after it's been prepared from the raw format that's stored in Redis. And then it actually runs this against the machine learning model and then provides some predicted data and stores that in a separate table in Postgres. And that's essentially the process for this entire application, is that it's just running scripts. Deep within that, and I'll show some of them, is actually some Lua and Bash scripting, aside Python scripting that I have. But to show some of the code, we have main, which just calls the data handling main and the ML processes main, which are out here in here. And the ML processes, we'll see that we have, I actually Dockerized the training and building of the model, but that's where this happens here. I won't go too much into that. And then, I just had to scroll up. We have data collection, preparation, storage, and there are certain metrics, as you saw here. Metrics.py, for instance, here we go. We can go to data collection .lua, and this returns metrics concerning the network, such as throughput or latency. And then we have, let's say, performance metrics from using a Py script. So we can see that we get uptime, response time, etc. And I won't go into the code and how it works. It's really not that complex. It's mostly using the OS library, which is not exactly hard to learn because it's a default Python library. And aside that, I just want to show that I've got some data storage. So for here, we can show that we are connecting to a database, and for this is actually for Postgres. And what I am is basically just running a SQL command here. You can see that this is all the data metrics and the values that I'm setting in, and that's it. And here is the data storage into Redis. I've got my Redis connection, but we can see that we actually store that in Redis. And I'm not too worried about anybody seeing this because it'll be deleted by the time there's anything, by the time it's up and posted. Okay. So I won't go too much more into the code just because I don't want it to burn too much time, but the steps of it are that it begins with data collection. Let me actually go to data handling main. It goes to, these are some dictionaries defined for those metrics, but it goes to data collection, data preparation, data storage, and then it goes to the machine learning algorithm that predicts some data metrics from the server using a linear regression model, and that is actually built using pandas and pickle. So that's where the machine learning component comes from. But aside that, I'm just going to end here. So thank you very much.